Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I don't know who won $1,000.
I haven't heard either yet, so we'll have to make sure we do that maybe on Monday.
Perhaps. All right. Hopefully it was somebody watching right now. Tonight, we are going to be talking about several things. Cigarette tax, the assault weapons ban regarding guns. You have something interesting.
A little timely. You can tell I'm wearing red.
It deals with Chuck Norris.
Yeah, that doesn't have to do with Chuck Norris.
That looks like the wallpaper in my speakeasy.
It kind of does.
It does. It's very nice. I love that wallpaper. That's a compliment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, you're wearing wallpaper. Great.
No. Okay. Anyway, so there's lots of good stuff.
Yes,
Stick with us. I will continue to compliment Lori as well. Apparently not very successfully.
We'll do a mailbag and we'll do an off-the-cuff too there. We've previewed the whole entire show now.
Okay, this segment's already done, I think.
Right. Okay, let's get going. All right.
Okay.
So we are doing a throwback to a 1994 bill because we've been talking about the new gun bill of Sheila Jackson Lee and how dreadful it is and how frightening it is. And she, of course, is convinced that it'll work. This may prove otherwise. Right.
So this is a huge, huge, huge thing. The Sabika Sheik, HR 127, in many ways very, very similar to the ban. There was an assault weapons ban in 1994. It had a sunset for 10 years with the idea that if it was successful, they would continue it, because that's what a lot of times happens with government edicts, is that they continue. However, this one was not successful and it did not continue. So it was done in 2004. I think it's really important to remember that there was such a thing and it didn't work. And the basis for it is the same basis for the Sabika Sheik Gun Registration, Firearms Licensing and Registration Act. And so let's hit that. We've got some graphics that refer to a study based on this 10-year ban. And
so did the 1994 assault weapons ban work? No. Here are the data. Let me say that I'm pretty sure it should be here is the data, and that drives me crazy when people, can data be plural, I guess. Anyway, sorry.
Here is the data.
Grammar Nazi, I'm so sorry. Okay, go on, all right.
Okay, but back to the topic at hand, Lori.
Yes?
The 1994 assault weapons ban targeted semi-automatic firearms and magazines that could hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition, which is in the coming bill as well. The ban also targeted weapons that included innocuous features that serve no purpose to a criminal, such as flash hiders, folding stocks, threaded barrels. The threaded barrel can hold a silencer. No crime data exists which show that criminals rely on any of these features advantageously when committing crimes with a firearm. And yet, the same things apply to the new law. What that means in this graphic is that if it looks scary, we're banning it.
Right.
If it's painted black and it has a pistol grip instead of just a barrel sort of grip, we are going to ban that.
It looks scary. Well, they should ban it because it's scary.
Right.
Well, is that the logic? I mean, basically that's the logic. These people are not gun people. Am I wrong?
No. Well, if you listen to some of their quotes, I mean, they clearly do not know what they're talking about.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're just kind of going through a couple of things on this 1994 bill, and then we're going to compare and contrast it to the next one that they are putting out now and that they're trying to correct.
Right. So this study from that 10-year ban in the 90s to 2004 indicated that assault weapons, and this was kind of known beforehand, but we really have the data based on studies like this. And there were actually 3 big studies that were done, and they came together and put into one overriding report. And so it's not one of those things like, well, we just don't know, the data's not in. It is in. And as shown in this particular gun study, assault weapons are used in a small fraction, about 2% of crimes.
Tiny.
Assault weapons. Again, we are using the definition that the left uses. There's no such thing as an assault weapon.
Right.
There are semi-automatic weapons, and then there are black semi-automatic weapons, and then there are black semi-automatic weapons that have things like pistol grips or collapsible stocks, which doesn't make them more deadly. It just makes them look more cool, I guess, to some people.
Right, exactly.
All right. It goes on to say the concept of the large capacity magazine is purely a political and media opinion. Every single firearm in production that uses a detachable magazine is capable of carrying more than 10 rounds. And right, I mean, that's exactly right. It's because you buy the magazine. And so if it can take a magazine, then you can buy whatever magazine. Those firearms are not more dangerous because they take magazines.
And the new gun bill too, HR 127.
27, yes.
The other thing about it is it talks about regulating ammunition even separate from the guns too. So
exactly. I don't believe the 94 assault weapon ban did that.
So
no.
this goes even a step farther.
Oh, it goes way further. You know, the one we're looking at now has federal registration, and it has training requirements, insurance requirements, $800 fees. It goes on and on. The 94 one just said we're going to ban assault weapons.
Right.
Alrighty, next up, the banning of millions of firearms did not reduce total gun crimes, overall criminal activity in any way, shape, or form. Why would it? Why, when hundreds of millions of firearms are already in circulation, when there is a well-established market, would writing a piece of legislation declare their use illegal actually do anything? And that's what you and I have said several times. All this does, at best, is affect people who are law-abiding citizens.
Exactly. The only thing a gun ban does is restrict the Second Amendment rights of Americans. That is all it does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got another quote from the study. Mass shootings are substantially carried out with handguns and shotguns, not assault rifles.
Quote.
In quotes, I'm glad they put it there, like AR-15s. AR-15 is a small gun, by the way, small caliber gun.
It's not even a huge...
It's not a deadly thing. In fact, mass shooters use handguns and shotguns almost 4 times more often than rifles. And the next one, well, since assault rifles are banned, I guess I'm not going to carry out this mass shooting, said no shooter ever.
Ever.
I'm like, I love that was actually in
That's
this
great
study.
sarcasm. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's again, it goes on to just say that this isn't going to work. Maybe if you were in another country that had very few guns,
Right.
It would work. But we literally have, I think we're approaching 400 million guns in the United States, and maybe it's more than that. I forget my numbers.
Which is why China will not bother us for a while.
Yeah, possibly. Well, a well-regulated militia.
It's all
be
true.
Necessary.
You know, it's just the hunters in the United States alone. You know,
oh, yeah.
People who know how to use their firearms. So, a deterrent. Thank you very much.
Next up in this study, the only thing a gun ban does is restrict Second Amendment rights, as we've just said.
Yep.
Second Amendment was not written by those who escaped tyranny for the purpose of hunting, nor was it written to provide a means for the individual's self-defense. That is very true. It was written to ensure American citizens will always have the physical force which might someday be required once again to protect liberty and their constitutional rights from tyranny.
I don't think people understand that. That is a fantastic quote, and it's so true.
It is.
It is not written for self-defense.
No, it's not. And I know at least on one of our shows I referenced Federalist number 46. And for years ago, for me, it was kind of a weird step to say that it's not about hunting, sports, and self-defense, that it was actually to fight government. Because that seems extreme.
Not so much anymore.
It seems very fringy
Isn't
extreme.
that funny?
Right.
How it's changed now,
But if you take yourself out of it emotionally and just look historically, look at the writings of our founding fathers, and as I said, look at Federalist number 46. It clearly indicates that the purpose of the Second Amendment is to be able to fight off a tyrannical government. Period. The other stuff is wonderful byproduct. Sports shooting, the hunting, certainly self-defense. But it's weird to say, if you haven't made the leap yet, read Federalist 46, read the other stuff. That's what it's for.
What happens, though, is in the world in which we live now, it's not such a far leap anymore to wonder about that, because with all of the censoring, the canceling, all of the propaganda, all of the control that government is wielding right now, it's a lot more obvious, I think, to people that, yeah, you do need to keep the government at bay.
Yep.
It never was that big of a deal before.
Absolutely. We've got another graphic. I love this quote. This is from a different magazine. This is not the study, but it says, "These government officials are people who have had armed protection before this legislation, and they will continue to have armed protection long after they've taken your gun rights away from you."
I actually found this full quote in an article that was talking about how gun dumb the people are who are putting this forward. They're just not very savvy about guns at all, and they're their hypocrisy is always showing.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely, and it's always that, I don't know exactly the quote, but it's this regulation, this law, it's good for thee, but not for me. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly, they don't need to worry about self-defense or protection because they have their own security details.
Mm-hmm. Who are armed.
Oh, absolutely, and it's the same with the lefty movie stars and all that kind of crap.
That's all true.
There is so much we could go on, but suffice to say that a very, very serious threat to the Second Amendment and our liberties in general is coming by way of H.R. 127, Sabika Chic, and we have the precedent of this previous assault weapon ban in 1994 that if you care at all about science, if you care at all about
data,
honesty and reality, this was tried and it failed. There's no need to bring it back.
Exactly.
There you go.
Well said. Okay, when we come back, we will talk a little bit about some cigarette tax bills.
Cigarette tax. Time to increase taxes. What the heck is that?
It's
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Heroes and Icons is now Cozy TV. Don't worry, you'll still get your favorite Beck News programming without changing the channel. Real people, real news, Beck News.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after a fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. Enough about guns. Guns, guns, guns.
We have talked a lot about guns, but it's important.
Well, it's freaking me out.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Sabika
not gonna lie. We actually may have had a conversation with my children at the supper table the other night about where we were gonna move, like to what country we were gonna escape.
$150,000 penalty if you don't register your firearm within 3 months of that law passing.
Yikes.
That bill passing.
I just can't even imagine how that's going to be enforceable. I'm really struggling with that. And we had on our Facebook page too a quiz question about that, and I will say that the people of North Dakota pretty much will not comply. I mean, that was the overriding answer.
Mm.
Yeah, that was the majority, far majority of people. So we shall see. Anyway.
Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about cigarette tax. Today, on the floor of the House, we representatives voted on 2 bills to increase cigarette tax. And
on Friday.
Yes.
Or on Thursday.
Oh no, I guess it was yesterday.
That's right. It was on Thursday.
It was yesterday. God, time flies. Okay, so the first is, if you pull it up here, House Bill 1403. You notice I don't have a tie on tonight.
I noticed
and yesterday
that.
I did have one on.
You're right. So it's a different day.
It's a different day.
Right.
I also have a pocket thingy.
That's it.
Okay, House Bill 1403. Part of the bill that's lifted, it says, there is hereby levied and assessed, and there shall be collected by the state tax. This sounds like Monty Python again.
Kind of does. That's...
There is hereby levied and assessed, and there shall be evermore collected by the state tax commissioner and paid to the state treasurer upon all cigarettes sold in the state, an additional tax separate and apart from all other taxes of, instead of 17, 72 mils on each cigarette. Now, Lori,
that's a
do not ask me how much money that is for a pack of cigarettes. I don't know. I didn't do the research. I didn't look it up. But
that is.
Let's just focus on the fact that it goes from 17 to 72.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to look up the math while you're talking.
All right. So you've got something that's completely exponentially going up on each and individual cigarette. Now, we're not even talking packs here. We're talking on each individual. That's a little disturbing to me. But there is hereby levied and assessed, collected by the state tax.
It's a 423% increase.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that one,
Is this? I'm just curious. Is
Yeah.
this meant to be a deterrent to anyone who wants to
Yes.
smoke?
So there are two approaches here with regard to this. One is behavior modification.
Okay.
Those that want to increase taxes want to decrease smoking, and because they think that's the role of government, is to make sure people are healthy, and so on and so forth. The other is to say, hey, cigarette smokers and tobacco users are causing increased healthcare costs. And because we have government healthcare in the way of Medicare and Medicaid, we, as legislators, have the right to try and force you to not smoke because you're costing us money.
Okay.
So that's
a
there is
leap,
why
but...
we should not be in the business of healthcare, for one thing. Okay, so those are the two. Now, the two reasons. If we go to the second bill, House Bill 1422, this one says, and this one I only pulled one quote, or one segment up, but it hits all tobacco. This says cigars and pipe tobacco, but it's pretty much the same thing and the same percentage for chew, for everything tobacco. But there's no sense in having 16 graphics for this.
Wait a minute, 28 to 92% of the wholesale. Wow.
Yeah, so you're I don't know if you get whatever your tobacco costs. If it costs $10, now it's going to instead of what is it? Instead of $12.80 for a $10 pack, it's going to be $19.20. Did I do that math right?
I think so. But the question I have is this just punishing people unnecessarily for something that is legal?
No. We're going to do this for your own health.
Okay.
For your own health.
It's good for you.
Yep.
For your own safety. There's that word.
Absolutely. So I got up on the floor today. Meaning when I say I got up on the floor, it means I just stood and spoke. And my approach, the first one died without any Republican speaking in favor of it, which is always an indicator it's going to die.
Okay.
The second one, 1422, did have Republican support. And so I wanted to get up, and I just discussed a couple of basic things. I said, there were 3 points that I wanted to make. Number one, from the Democrat perspective, it makes sense that they want to increase taxes because that's their platform. We increase taxes so that we as government can make your life better. We can offer programs, more programs, new programs, better programs. That's what they believe. So in that regard, great, this falls right in line with your platform. On the other hand, for the Democrats, you ostensibly argue that you are the party that is advocating for lower income people. However, it is very, very well known that tax on tobacco is a regressive tax. It disproportionately hits people of lower income than it does otherwise. So I don't know how the Democrats try and
rationalize that.
Exactly. How do you try and balance that? You're hurting the people you say that you want to help.
That happens a lot.
I'll leave it to you for that, right? Exactly. So from the Republican side of things, I said, okay, here's the problem. This is a sin tax. So twofold. Number one, it's a tax increase. So where, as a Republican, do you get off wanting to have a tax increase? Two, it's a sin tax, meaning that it is an attempt for government to come into your life, try and modulate your behavior to prevent or hinder you from doing a legal activity.
Now, you're not talking sin tax like S-Y-N-T-A-X, one word. You're talking a tax for sin.
Lori,
sin to S-I-N. So it's
Lori, I guarantee you not one person in the audience was thinking that I was talking about syntax, only a vocabulary nut job like yourself.
It's me, it's
okay.
all true. But you're talking about, what are other sin taxes, for instance? Alcohol taxes?
Yeah, the biggies are alcohol and tobacco. Absolutely. Right. There are other cities that, I mean, if you think about Bloomberg in New York, and he wanted to put a tax on large beverages and stuff, right? That would be one. I suppose you can say a sin tax is on marijuana now.
Sure.
Right.
Fast food? No.
So for Republicans, you've got a sin tax, which is, first off, it's a tax. Secondly, it's a tax that's trying to modulate people's behavior. And I pointed out that it goes against the Republican platform.
Right.
I think I pointed out 5 or 6 planks, which is liberty, which is low taxes, which is personal responsibility. There's another couple, legislative integrity. It's like, where do we as Republicans possibly think that we have standing to do this and be true to our platform? My third point is a huge, huge, huge point. The argument is that we're doing it because of healthcare costs. It's basically getting people that are causing these healthcare costs by doing this activity to pay their fair share, right? So your habit is causing the taxpayers money because we have this government healthcare. Therefore, if you buy into that, and this is what I challenged the people, the legislators in the House, if you buy into that, then you need to admit that if you're going to be consistent, you need to be in favor of increasing taxes on alcohol, because alcoholism certainly causes increased healthcare costs. Even more than that, you need to be consistent and be in favor of increasing taxes on sugary beverages, on fast food.
Anything unhealthy.
Anything unhealthy. Obesity is causing tremendous costs healthcare-wise. So if you actually think that you have standing to do this because of tobacco, then you better do it for everything. And I challenge the folks in the House, pick a damn lane. Either you're in favor of taxing and trying to get people to do everything to be healthy, regardless of what they want to choose personally, because we have Medicare, or you let people experience liberty. Pick a lane, stick with it.
And Darwinism, they could just, off themselves if they want. That's your choice, it's your choice.
That's a different bill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back for something that has to do with Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
I don't know.
Come back.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Beautiful day to get out on the course, isn't it, Corey?
Without a doubt, Brian. And Scotty here was thinking the exact same thing.
There's a lot on the line for him today. He told his friends he's a scratch golfer, but the numbers today suggest otherwise. Ooh, swing and a miss.
Looks like he's excited to find that Titleist. Unfortunately, he was playing with Mojos.
Ooh, and a major infraction just occurred. Can we get another look at that?
Guys, from my angle, it looks like he's got about a 10, 12-foot putt, slightly.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck.
People are going to want those. People are going to want to buy those cool glasses.
You've got an interesting segment here. Chuck Norris. I'm just going to let you lead right into it.
Okay, so Chuck Norris, and thank you for acquiescing. So it's Valentine's Day this weekend on Sunday. It's going to be like the world's coldest day of all time. But St. Valentine has a kind of an interesting story, and I came across an article that was in WorldNet Daily, and it was written by Chuck Norris, of all people.
Love it.
And Chuck Norris, you don't really maybe know all of his politics. Maybe you haven't heard much about his politics, but this was a wonderful article because it really brought out the importance of marriage in the article. So the backstory is, he begins it, and this is what he writes in the beginning. When people ask about my heroes, Chuck Norris's heroes, like Chuck Norris meme city. So anyway, I tell them, there you go, right? Or else, right? I know.
Oh my God.
The great thing about Chuck Norris is that there are thousands and thousands of Chuck Norris things. Anyway, he says, I tell them I have a few favorites when people talk about my heroes. Steve McQueen and John Wayne are at the top of the heap.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
But I have a new one to add, he said, St. Valentine. And not for the reasons that you might imagine. St. Valentine was amazingly courageous, and we should follow his model. Now, why would you want to, this guy was a priest.
Yeah.
So the background of the story is Emperor Marcus Aurelius Valerius Claudius Augustus, otherwise known as Claudius II, or Claudius Gothicus, or Claudius the Cruel.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. He was Roman emperor,
that.
right?
I want a name like that.
Claudius the Cruel.
Rick
We'll come up with it by the end of the show. Do not worry.
I know what my friends are going to say.
Right? I don't go there.
It rhymes.
Yes. No. Okay, so he was the Roman emperor from AD 268 to 270, so a very short amount of time. But he was having difficulty recruiting soldiers, and in so doing, he figured out that the reason was probably because they were unwilling to leave their wives and their families, and that could not do for Claudius the Cruel. So Claudius outlawed engagements and marriages in Rome. Outlawed marriages and engagements in Rome. Can you imagine? All of a sudden, okay, you know what? You cannot get engaged anymore. You cannot get married.
Interesting. I guess
So-
the divorce rate would have gone way down.
That would help at least, right? Exactly, too. Well, he figured they were not willing to sacrifice their time and their energy because
Smart.
of those goofy wives. Well, isn't there something in NFL about that, too? Like something about like football players and they...
Like from Bismarck, quarterback at the Eagles?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just saying sometimes football players have to stay away from their wives in order to perform well on the football field. I've heard that been said, but okay. Anyway, I digress. So along comes this Roman priest, and his name is Valentine, and he rebelled against the emperor's orders and decided, no, I don't think that's probably what the problem is. I'm just going to say that's probably not a good idea. And so Valentine not only cared for the troops, but he was also very pro-marriage. And History.com explained Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. So this Valentine decided not only was he going to be pro-marriage, he was going to perform these marriages beyond what the emperor knew was going on. And so he did so.
In your face.
In your face, right? So his advocacy and actions were, of course, eventually found out. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bonhoeffer, but not totally. But he was one of those people who knew what he believed, lived that way, performed the marriages in secret, and he was found out. And of course, then he was imprisoned, as was Bonhoeffer, and tortured. This guy was tortured. So Claudius decided he's going to put Valentine to death, making him an example, and he was arrested. He was dragged before the prefect, condemned him to be beaten to death with clubs. They beat him to death with clubs and then had his head cut off. Horrible. So remember, we've talked before about various medical people who have been, same sort of thing. So the sentence was carried out, wait for it, guess what day? February 14th, on or about the year 270. I know that was a dramatic pause.
270.
So that's the day that Valentine was killed, was on February 14th. And because of that, legend says that before he was killed, he left a farewell note for the jailer's daughter, which is interesting for a priest, who became his friend. So it was his friend, and he signed it, "From your Valentine." So this is all.
When you asked me what date, I wanted to say December 25th, but I didn't want to make you mad because you're on such a nice roll explaining the story.
Anyway, so Chuck Norris, there you go. I love it.
Nice.
It's great. Chuck Norris is everywhere. So anyway, what would St. Valentine do if he were alive today? I believe he would probably not be afraid to stand up. And it's a lesson for all of us, is what Chuck Norris was saying about this: stand up for your beliefs. If you have to die for them, you have to die for them. And, the right to free speech and the right to marry and the right to stay married to. And he was a one-woman, one-man guy, St. Valentine was. So now you know a lot more about St. Valentine.
Also, St. Valentine's Day Massacre is, I'm taking us to a new area. I like to kind of go dark when
I
you
don't
go
know how
light.
that happens. It just often does.
Right.
Okay.
So that it occurred on February 14th as well in 1929 during Prohibition. It was in Chicago. There was a North Side gang and a South Side gang, and Capone was with the South Side gang. And anyway, I don't think they ever caught the perpetrators, but there were, I think, 6 or 7 people that were lined up against a wall from the North Side gang and shot on Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully they were not married. Bringing this around.
Let's bring it right around to the end there. Anyway, so happy Valentine's Day to you in advance. So.
All right, next up is Off the Cuff. Lori's going to hit me with some
No.
powerful...
Mailbag first.
What? Mailbag!
Mailbag.
Listen to her, not me. Mailbag.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Rush hour traffic in North Dakota? It's almost unheard of, Noah.
I'm speechless. It's something you just don't see around here, especially at this hour of the day.
Brian, can you see anything from your perspective?
Guys, I can. All this traffic is because some doofus drove off the road.
Doofus? Well, let's hope you can help him out of there.
No.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
All right, great job.
Yeah, that went very well.
Welcome back to No Apologies, I'm Back, your after hours oasis of sanity. Although tonight I think I've been feeling somewhat insane for a good portion
Not
of this.
particularly sanity-filled,
Yeah.
but
Between me getting mixed up on segments and you going off the rails with syntax and your
sorry
own little
about
vocabulary
that.
word.
I apologize.
I
I'm
think-
nerdy grammar nerd. And I know you have a nice eye roll. That's all true. But yours is almost as bad. You have your words too. It's the same sort of thing. Sadly, that's one thing we share. So we're doing a mailbag tonight, and we haven't done a mailbag for a while. It's nice to kind of gather them together and use them toward the end of the week so that we have a week's worth of shows from which to choose. And so that's what we're doing this time around. We got, first off, a No Apologies with Becker email to our email address. And do you want to read this? It's to you, or do you want me to read it?
Sure, I'll, Rick and Lori. I didn't know you ran for governor. Rick and Lori, I supported you for governor in 2016 at state convention and agree with you on most issues.
I did. I helped your campaign, though.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Eliminating our state income tax is one issue we disagree on. Although I agree in principle that a consumption tax is preferable and would love to eliminate IRS at federal level, there is the issue of reciprocity with Montana and Minnesota. For example, currently, a resident of North Dakota working in Minnesota pays income tax in North Dakota and none to Minnesota. If we eliminate our income tax, that person would have to pay Minnesota income tax. This could also impact hunting and fishing licenses and many other issues. This is my understanding, but if I am wrong, please correct me. Our property taxes are what need to be cut or eliminated. So first, I'll agree with you. Property taxes should be eliminated first. They are immoral. And I don't use that word lightly here. They are truly immoral. It is not your property if the government can take it away from you because you don't pay your annual rent.
Exactly.
And by rent, I mean property tax.
Your own
So
property.
that is immoral. Income tax after that should be eliminated, and it should all be based on a consumption tax. However, you are correct. If you are living in North Dakota, working in Minnesota, you pay North Dakota income tax. Now, as I understand it, you should be paying proportionately, and so you might still have to pay some Minnesota income tax. okay? But if North Dakota got rid of the income tax altogether, then yes, you would have to pay Minnesota income tax. And so what I would suggest in that case, get a job in North Dakota.
Great
Now, the other thing
advice.
is, though, South Dakota does not have an income tax.
Oh, that's true. So you
So
could have
get a
reciprocity.
job in South Dakota.
That's a good idea. Go on the southern border and you'll be
Right. Anyway, thanks for your support. We agree. You say on most issues, you know, no one is perfect. Hang in there.
good. Right, that's right. I just appreciate the fact that they gave an example. I thought that was a
Yes,
very good
it's a great
thing-
question.
It was a
It's a
great
very good
question and a
question.
good thing to do. Okay, the next one that we are going to show you comes from our Facebook page, and this is our original. Okay, so you see our quotes up all the time, and a big thank you to Snurdly, our
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic for coming up with a good portion of these. So prior to capitalism, the way people amassed great wealth was by looting, plundering, and enslaving their fellow man. Capitalism made it possible to become wealthy by serving your fellow man. And someone asked, can you do more of your shows on this topic? So that is a nice suggestion. People are giving us topic ideas for the program.
I think it's a great topic idea because we can, for a specific segment, we can talk about how capitalism lifted various third world countries out of poverty. We can talk about how it's actually capitalism that is responsible for the Scandinavian countries doing exceedingly well. And I won't go into it now, but we can have several segments.
I just
on
wrote
that.
it down so that we can remember to do it as a topic in the future. So it's on paper now, so we'll do it. I just appreciate the fact that people are giving us suggestions on that one too. So all right, we're moving on. One more here. This one is also from our Facebook page. So on the left is the setup. We're number one. We're number one. North Dakota collects more tax dollars per capita than any other state in the nation. Here's what Rick thinks about that. So they went on to show the clip there, and so we have mixed things on some of our answer, but this not so much on this side. It was all pretty much, yay, great rant, right on. And it was an epic one of those mic drop moments at the end of his rant on that one. It was so super good. Amen. Thank you very much.
I got spicy on that one.
That was so good. I mean, your voice got, not Levin level, but got up so that it was really louder and you were very forceful and you were spot on with your rant on that one. So very, very good. All right, let's show another one here. This one's from Facebook too.
Hello, Dr. Rick and Lori. I love your show. I watch it online when it fits my schedule. Just want to let the two of you know that pseudoscorpions do in fact live in North Dakota. I live in an old farmhouse out in the country, and we have every creepy crawler there is in this area occasionally sneak into the house or crawl across the basement floor. I have indeed seen pseudoscorpions in my house in the past, and they're actually kind of cute if you like bugs or arachnids, since I learned from you guys that they're actually spiders, which, I mean, they're like spiders. Keep up the great work informing the North Dakota citizens of what is going on in the legislature.
Oh, that was a very kind one.
I want to see a pseudoscorpion.
It would be kind of cool if somebody could bring one in for show and tell.
Take a picture. We have your name crossed off, but take a picture of the next pseudoscorpion you see and send it to us.
I like that. That's great. Do we have one more, or is that all?
We got another. One more.
One more? Okay, there it is. Oh, yes. Okay, so this is a general one. Okay, as a setup, the page of description on Facebook is, here's no apologies. And so it's just the basic page. And so we've got a couple of different ideas on what they think of the show, which is pretty specific here. No apologies, because I don't care about you.
I love that one. I think that's my favorite.
That's pretty good.
No apologies.
Then the next person says it's the dumbest show on TV. I take umbrage at that because I can say the word umbrage. I take umbrage at that because I think that we raise the bar of intellect with this program. So I would not say it's exactly the dumbest show on TV.
No. If this person said one of the dumbest.
Right.
Right. That's subjective, and I can't argue with you. I highly doubt that you actually think it's the dumbest show on TV. I don't think so.
You are correct.
Okay.
Rick Becker needs to be our next governor. You probably get that a lot, I'm guessing. You probably get that a lot.
I've heard it.
Okay, and then very good news. So I'm wondering if that means news like news or very good news that you're on, or I really didn't understand that completely.
I think much like poetry, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Sounds great. Okay, so viewers IQ up 25 points for watching. See?
Yes, good
and
job.
it's
Yay,
it must be
everyone's
right because it's on
smarter.
TV.
Right.
So it's got to be true.
All right. Okay, so next up, Now we're gonna do off the cuff. Lori's gonna pose some.
I think you're starting to look forward to these, aren't you?
I do, because it's very relaxing. I don't have any preparation to do. I love it.
It's-
I would do the whole damn show on off the cuff if I could.
Off the cuff when we come back.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck, or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back, segment 5. You've almost made it through the entire program. Hang in there, people. You can do it.
Okay.
This is No Apologies on Beck.
All right.
I'm still Rick. You're still Lori.
I still am.
We're going to do Off the Cuff.
Off the cuff. And off the cuff is cool because we're a little freewheeling, little...
I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's very fun because you don't know in advance what I'm going to ask you about. And it's kind of your take on something cultural or something, a topic of the day, but nothing specific like numbers or things like that. So I really enjoy this segment too. It's fun for me to just not try to stump you because I know that I can't. I've learned that already. But I do like to hear your take on certain things. And first of all, I've noticed a trend in articles the last week here on things that are popping up now that you wouldn't have seen during the throes of COVID, for instance.
Okay.
One of the articles that I found was a WorldNet Daily one called "The Cost of Lockdowns, 1 Million Cases of Undiagnosed Cancer."
Mm-hmm.
Another one I read was a study, "Teachers have the same death rate as the rest of the population."
Yeah.
That was a Daily Wire article. And my question is, now that I'm seeing these, will we ever really be able to even calculate the cost of this plandemic? Is there even a way to, because in terms of devastation of our regular run-of-the-mill normal way of life, I mean, will we ever be able to come back to a regular way of life, or is that gone forever? Will we be able to reclaim that? I remember, for instance, right after 9/11, I kept thinking to myself, I will never be able to go back to trusting again or hopping on an airplane. I will never be able to go into an airport and just jump on a plane like I did before and things like that. So I'm just wondering if there's any way to even quantify this, and not only in terms of suicides, and I know this is a big lead up and not giving you a lot of time, but ruined businesses, healthcare, small children wearing masks unnecessarily, a change in the way we see other people. Is the devastation irreparable?
Well, it's not irreparable, but it's so generally through time, largely because of capitalism, we have seen standard of living increase all through time. And once the United States, industrial revolution saw a big pop.
Right.
Okay, then you saw the United States really take on and expand capitalism, and it popped again. And then you saw that essentially the United States was able to export capitalism. I mean, meaning that the rest of the world saw what was happening in America, and there was also import-export of goods. And so you saw this dramatic increase of the standard of living all throughout the globe. Poverty just completely decimated. And so we see this. I think what we're going to see is a plateauing, and then it'll start picking up again. And the reason for the plateau is significant. It doesn't mean like, oh, okay, that means tremendous, tremendous loss. Because keep in mind, COVID is not just in the United States. It's all around the world.
Worldwide.
And what you're looking at, and economists have done these studies, when there is a decrease in economic activity, it does translate into deaths because there's a lower standard of living. There's increased poverty means increased starvation, means decreased health conditions.
Right.
There will be worldwide significant, tremendous death because of, not COVID-19, because we're talking about two different things. We can say, well, how many people did COVID-19 take? What you're asking, I believe, is how many people did the response to COVID-19 take?
That's my question.
It will be tremendous. Standard of living in the United States will also plateau for a while because you're looking at significant economic impacts. Now, the federal government is trying to, I guess, take care of those or respond to those with huge amounts of federal spending, which does mitigate those on the short term.
Temporarily.
But it has, if everything that we've ever known about economics, economics holds true, it will have devastating effects long term.
Right.
In other words, a plateau or even a decreasing slope that will last for decades and decades to come. I could go on and on about this, but yes, I think it will be hard to actually calculate the sum total. There will have to be a lot of extrapolation. It is tremendous, and I will reiterate one more time, it is not the disease that's causing this. It's the response to the disease.
Right, exactly. Okay, so my next one, that was a good answer. And my next one has to do with a little pop culture here a little bit too. You and I know him as the boss.
Oh, Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
So Bruce Springsteen, it was revealed this week, was arrested for DWI. Did you hear that?
Nope.
Get this. The arrest was not made public until after his TV commercial for Jeep in the Super Bowl was seen and already run. Then magically, a few days after it airs, the truth comes out.
Yeah.
And so he starred in this Jeep Super Bowl, I don't know, I did not watch it, Super Bowl commercial, which aimed for Trump supporters to join the reunited America. Reports are coming out that Springsteen was arrested for having this DUI. And upon finding out the news, Jeep then immediately pulled Bruce Springsteen's television commercial. So how do we navigate the news when all hurtful and embarrassing and negative stories of the truth are always embargoed and all the true news is always suppressed until it's advantageous to put it back out again? It's just so blatant. How do you even navigate your news? There are so many suppressed stories. There are so many hidden things that we are not allowed to see anymore that I just can't.
Yeah.
It's people tell me all the time, they're like, well, where do I get my news from? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Because it's almost impossible to trust anything.
You bring up a good point. This is a good example of how what we see, what we receive is very calculated and it's filtered. And unfortunately, it's filtered by people that we have no control over. That aspect of Bruce Springsteen looking to try and relate to Trump voters, just so bad on several levels. One, just overt pandering with the whole Western thing and the rugged cowboy thing, and it was just stupid and irritating. I didn't watch, but during the Super Bowl, but I did see it later. And then the other component is just where they're going with it. Again, is so hypocritical. They talk about coming together. They're only interested in coming together or uniting or meeting. They talk about meeting in the middle because now they're in office. And what meeting in the middle comes is they're far left, we're far right, according to them.
Right.
If we meet in the middle, that means on the right, we're going to move to the middle. They've won. They've got us to move. They're not moving to the middle.
Exactly.
They are not. They're interested in uniting now. They were the opposite of being interested in uniting a few months ago. So complete hypocrisy. I just can't stand it. And this is just another example. I essentially stopped watching pretty much all of TV.
Yeah, I'm there too. I really watch very little.
I can't stand the idea that I'm being subjected to some progressive eggheads sitting in some office said, hey, this is good. We want this person to think this way or to think that way. It's like, screw you. I'm not even going to watch your crap anymore.
Thank heavens you have no apologies with Becker, because there would be nothing else to watch on television otherwise.
Right.
Join us again on Monday for some more bill updates from the North Dakota legislative session. I think we're going to probably be covering some of those, and we may update the executive order count as well.
Have a great weekend. See you Monday night.